I know, I know. Everything's fine, teacher. Everything's good. Thanks. In my family, everything's okay. My businesses are okay too. What about you?
Fine too. Thank you very much. Lots
That's
of
right.
living this season, Christmas, New Year, lots of celebrations, family gatherings.
Yeah,
So my Sophie, she's doing great.
that's great.
I'm very
She
happy.
is still in Querétaro?
She's still in Querétaro, yeah. Yeah, she's still in Querétaro. She got a good job with a US company online.
That's
So she's
great.
very happy.
That's great. What is she doing in her work?
She's promoting a very interesting set of activities. Is called, well, I don't know exactly the name of the job, but she's promoting the sale of assistants who assist you in your office. If you have a medical practice, they train the assistants who's going to take your calls, who's going to keep the call tolls, call records, who's going to make the appointments, who's going to schedule your visit to the doctor, who's going to do basically all the office work, but from home. And this
That's great.
company trains those people, and I believe also assigns them to other doctors. So if you're a doctor and you don't want to pay for an assistant in your office that needs to go there and commute maybe an hour and a half
Mm,
every day for them back, they train people to take that service for you online.
wow, that's great. I didn't know that
Yeah,
job.
yeah, it is great. And I think that can be extended to other areas, like, for example, legal practices. There are also some lawyers or attorneys, lawyers mostly, that have their practice, their private practice, and they need to to schedule their visits, their
Hmm.
consultation. And so you
Mm,
need an assistant who takes that, who keeps the files on track. I think that's more, I don't know if it's to say more sensitive or not, because your health is also very sensitive and requires to be very honest with the secrecy of your files, your
of
records,
course,
your
yeah.
health records and legal records.
Hmm.
They don't do that yet, but I think that can be exploited as well.
Yeah, I don't know how many years the company, uh, yeah, is available. But I think that it's something that they can sooner or later apply. I think will be good. But as you mentioned, I think that you need to trust in the person that with who you're working.
Yeah, the human resources work needs to be very tight, very strict, because you want to hire honest people, serious, diligent, and secretive people, people who are very discreet, that cannot don't share information, right? So you need to be very and I guess you need to sign a confidentiality agreement or that type of thing, right? But I believe it's a great job. And the man in the US who deals with her is a very honest, fine guy. He has another assistant in New York, I think, and she's also a fine lady. She's very happy about it. She's very happy, and they pay her very fairly. So they're good people, really. And she's very happy about that. They they triple her salary, I think. So it's a great thing.
That's great, teacher. That's
Yeah,
amazing.
she's
Uh,
very happy.
she studied
Marketing,
music. Marketing. Oh my
marketing,
god.
yes,
I don't know. I didn't
marketing.
know. I didn't know where I had the idea that she studied music or something like
Well,
related
she
to
also
art.
studied music. Yeah, she studied
Uh,
music as a second career.
mm,
She is in the process of completing it.
okay.
She actually is engaged in a master's in finance in administration.
That's great.
So she's just started the master's degree in Querétaro, and she's happy about it. So, and she's got the time and energy, most importantly, right? She's like
Mhm.
you. She's young.
Totally.
I think she's a couple of years older than you. You're what, 22,
I'm 24. This year
24?
I'll
Oh,
turn
geez, I
25.
thought you were 22. Well, she's
Yeah.
exactly 24. She's going to turn 25 in April.
Me too. The
You
25.
too? April too?
Yeah, in 20, 25th of April. Yeah.
25th of April. She turns 25 on the 4th of April, April the 4th. So you
The
guys are
same
from
as
the
my
same.
brother. My brother Luis, his birthday is on 4th.
Yeah, I knew. He told me once, but he's much younger. He's gonna turn 20 or 19. He's gonna turn 20, right? Or
Mm,
19.
19, 19, yeah. Yeah,
19.
because the difference between me and he is of 6 years. So yeah, he's gonna turn 19.
19. Wow, he's still young. And Michelle is in the middle.
Yeah, Michelle, she's 22, I think. Yeah, the difference between me and she's is of 2 years. Yeah.
Okay, it's amazing that you guys you grow so fast, and on the other hand, we remain the same. We don't change.
Yeah.
As your dad, he's gonna say, "No, no, no, we don't change."
It is true.
Well, I'm very happy to see you again, Mickey. And I have a set of interesting topics besides the news, which I I'm scared even to comment about the news. Boy, it's happening. So many things are happening.
I know.
What do you think of what is happening in the world now? Before we entangle in other topic, which is social experiments. What do you think? What's going on the world right now, Mickey?
I don't know. It seems that we stop having classes and then the world becomes crazy. I don't know. I don't know. There are so many things. I think that the main topic on news now is like, well, it's the capture of Maduro and I don't know. It's an interesting topic. I have like two perspectives of the same one. From one hand, I have seen like videos of Venezuelan people like happy and celebrating, and I understand why. But on the other hand, I don't know until what point is good that that a foreign country is like in order of your country just because they decided to capture and now they do the story like they're like the heroes and they liberate Venezuela. To be honest, I don't complete. I don't think that it's gonna be totally like that. But I think that um, it is important to wait and probably don't do like a lot of how you say like es, how you say like especulaciones.
Speculation,
Yeah.
speculate.
Yeah, I think that it's better to don't do like so many speculations. Yeah.
Speculations, yeah. It's better not to speculate about
Hmm.
those things. I fully agree with you, Mickey. I don't think first off, I don't think anyone has the right to run other people's, nations, countries' policies. Like it's like if I'm your neighbor and you don't like how I run my family, and you think I don't think you are educating your children well, and you break here with police force, you break into my house with police force
Exactly.
and say, "No, we're gonna take you and we're gonna run your family." I mean, who has the right to do that? No,
Hmm.
because you are spanking your kids, you are yelling at your wife, your wife is burning the food. You're not running your family well. I'm going to run your family. What? Man, the man cannot run his own family. The man cannot run his country. And now he wants to run another country. I'm
Exactly.
totally against it. Totally, 100% against it. And also, I was watching Mickey, a very interesting documentary in German. I could not understand it whole totally yesterday, but
Hmm.
they talk about the body language of Maduro. They say Maduro is very expansive. He has the handcuffs, but looks like if he has a gift in the hands, he's swaying very calmly. He's looking at other guys, the guards in the eyes. Different. This looks like a setup, like a mock-up. This doesn't
Yeah.
look real. It's a pretense. What do you think about that comment?
Well, to be honest, it wouldn't surprise me. To be honest, I think that probably he was waiting them, because at the end, I have seen like, well, I have watched a lot of news, and and it was like so easy to do it, like they just arrived and they capture it. Now, they took it to New York, I think, and it was like so fast, and it seems like I don't know. I have like probably a conspirational, how do you say, like
Conspiracy theory?
conspiracy theory and that probably, I don't know, Russia was like, okay, yeah, take Venezuela. You don't bother me with Ukraine, and you can do whatever you want with America, with Latin America. And I don't know, because like 2 days after that, I saw video of Trump like talking now of Mexico, that Mexico needs um, to have like more order with, the violence here and narco and all stuff. So it's like, I don't know if they will do like the same. I know that if it was like something so easy, probably they will do it a long time ago, or probably they're doing it, but without like, how say, like spotlights.
Right.
Uh,
Yes.
but yeah, I don't know. It seems, to be honest, it seems like fake to me.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you. I wanted to ask you, Mickey, about this topic. Do you know some U.S. comedians, Jimmy Kimmel, Seth Meyers, and Stephen Colbert? Do you know these
Uh,
guys?
I know who is Jimmy Kimmel and Seth Meyers. Stephen Colbert, I don't think so.
He's another comedian. He's also
Okay.
very, very smart, very witty, and well, I like very much what they do, what they say. They mock basically whoever is in power and is getting out of line, and that's from the comic side. I suggest that you compare the three of them and come up with an interesting comment when you have an opportunity. I mean, they're always interesting with a comment about them, what they think.
Yeah.
And on the serious side, there is a judge called Jack Smith. Jack Smith, the judge. This is a very smart guy who made his deposition against Trump. Basically, he accused Trump when he was a prosecutor and convicted him. Apparently, he's going to be convicted of the insurrection of January 6th. Insurrection of January 6th, 2024. 2020? When was the insurrection? 2020, 2024, 2020, I think. Yeah, 2020 or 2021. Yeah, it was the insurrection 5 years ago. So
Mm-hmm.
it's actually 2021, I think. The insurrection of January 2026. And this judge was in charge, or is in charge of Donald Trump's insurrection behavior in January 6th. And it's very interesting because now Trump is seeking revenge for him. And he made a deposition that you can find if you type the words Jack Smith deposition in internet. And it's a long deposition, but it's so interesting. And one thing the guy has is that he has such a nice language, and they have it with him because he's a federal prosecutor. Now
Mm-hmm.
he's been prosecuted for like a revenge by the US president. But if you can just find this deposition, Judge Jack Smith deposition, you're gonna
Okay.
find lots of sites. Well, there is one that is 8 hours long. Imagine a deposition of 8 hours. I actually
Mhm.
have it.
Yeah, I saw it here.
You
Full
saw it.
deposition video. Jack Smith
Yeah.
deposition list. Yeah.
When you have an opportunity, little by little, take a look at it, and you're gonna find it extremely, extremely interesting. Extremely interesting. It's 8 hour long, but it's like an audiobook. If you have the opportunity, take a
Thanks,
look.
sir. Yeah, I'm gonna see it because I'm interested. Yeah, I found the video. Forbes breaking news. Full deposition video. Yeah, I'm gonna save it, teacher. Thank you.
Very good. Excellent. Well, and now in another sort of event, I wanted to ask you about this thing called social experiments. First off, what is your opinion? How do you like doing or reading or learning about social experiments? What's your feeling about them in general?
Mhm. I always feel like intrigued in watch social experiments. I have seen many of them on YouTube, and normally I have like a hypothesis of what is going to happen in the social experiments, and sometimes the result is completely different. So it's always like, um, yeah, exciting to see because you don't know how people react.
Okay, very, very interesting. It says here that, well, here is a short definition. I don't know if you might, you might wish to read it, please. Social
Hmm.
experiment designed.
Yeah. Social experiments designed to convince people of something through media, blend psychology, sociology, and communication strategy. They can be powerful tools for positive change or manipulative instruments of propaganda.
Well, that's the risk, don't you think? That there is a little risk behind social experiments, that they can also be manipulative, not only to provoke positive change. What do you think about that? In what cases you can notice that is something through positive intention, for positive intention, and something for manipulation? How can you tell one from another?
Uh, well, first, I think that it's important to analyze like the source or who is doing like the social experiment, because um, with that you can have like an idea if it's gonna be like completely impartial, or probably the social experiment is gonna lead you to a specific result, or as you mentioned here, propaganda. So
Okay.
yeah, the source.
Okay. Now, for that, I have a question. Which ones are reliable for us? And how do we assess them? How do we assess if a source is credible or not? We make the assessment. Well, that source, yeah, okay, that is the source. Is that credible or not? How do we make the assessment, right?
Yeah. um, I consider that knowing, well, in actuality I think that it's so difficult to know like what is like a good source. I think that uh, yeah, we have like a lot of information, but to be honest we don't know like which of all that information is like the most accurate. And at the end I think that the majority of them are like influenced by something or someone. So I think that the best way to do it is like do comparisons between one with the other. And after that, I would say that the best thing is like to have like your own criteria, or try to don't uh, believe everything at 100%. I think that it's always good to have like a um, yeah, to try to be like, how I say, biased, like don't try to believe everything of what they're saying.
Okay, now a difficult question, Mickey. Well, no question has been easy so far, right? But let me ask you something. You mentioned something extremely important: is you don't want to be biased, so you want to analyze thoroughly. Analyze thoroughly. You want to analyze thoroughly. But how do we uh, prevent, or how do we become agile without taking too long, but at the same time not rush it? In other words, we don't want to rush it, but we don't want to be planning forever to make a decision in our analysis. We analyze thoroughly. We say, well, this source, I don't know, I need to check it. But at some point, we need to make a decision in our consciousness. We need to decide, well, this source is credible or this source is not credible. What is the thought process that leads you to determining if a source is or is not credible? How long should that take? How long does it for you personally, Mickey? How long does it take you to determine if a source is or is not credible normally?
um yeah, yeah, to be honest I think that it's something that it is not like so easy to me. uh, I consider that in the past I always like believed the first thing that I saw or I read. It was like, okay, it seems like a honest page, I'm gonna believe it. But then now that I have grown up and I have seen like cases where I trust in something and it wasn't like completely honest. um, I think that it's important to see, for example, the source have like different how do you say, like, for example, how do you say, like, citas in this case, like
Quotes,
quotes.
quotes.
Yeah, if it has like quotes, if it has like documents, studies uh, that explain, I would say, like how and why probably what they are saying is true. instead of just watching something without without like access to other source to other codes or information, I think.
Correct. Yeah, well, that is true. Yeah, that is true. I've seen so many people, possibly myself included, possibly myself, who feel attached to a specific source, and then you watch that source, and without you knowing it, other similar sources, other similar topics appear on the screen for you. There are algorithms that if you say a word or a topic continues coming, but usually from the same source. So I think they have some type of tracking the information that you read, that they not only tell you something about world news, but also from the same or similar or equivalent sources. Um, you think the communications people get the aid or help from some mathematicians that develop these algorithms that track not only the source but also the type of wing, let's say left wing, right wing, middle wing, central wing, um, conservative, anarchist, Republican, Democrat? You think they also consider that when they do their mathematical analysis for making the algorithms?
uh, I don't know. I imagine that probably some of them, but not all of them. uh, but a part of that, I think that it's so difficult because um, sometimes I think that people probably can have like a, I don't know, like an ideology, but it's not like 100% like that. Probably it's influenced by other ideologies too, and and I don't know. I think that nowadays, as I mentioned, we have like a lot of information, and there's like a lot of noise too. That is like so difficult to really focus on one thing without ignore others, and at the end you don't have like a clear idea of what really you believe or what you want to believe. That it is so difficult. To be honest, it's something that happens to me. Sometimes I feel like I'm like probably not attached, but probably I can be like more. Um, how can I say this? Uh,
Autonomous?
yeah, and sometimes I have realized myself like falling in certain like beliefs of an ideology or for a way of thinking. Then in the end, it's like, oh my god, well, I'm not so autonomous as I thought.
Well, there is a study, I think we have talked about this study by Daniel Kahneman.
Mhm.
Remember that we talked about him a number of times, in
Yeah,
which the guys were exposed to some words that had a connection with the elderly people, with the elderly. Gray hair, club, wheelchair, etc. And they were giving this test, remember?
yeah,
And they started to behave. The students started to behave as the elderly, and took considerably more time to deliver their exams because they got, in a way, convinced or persuaded or something in the mood of being elderly. Remember?
yeah, yeah. It was the author of Think Fast, Think Slow too, right?
Exactly that. Exactly that. Yes. So there are lots of social experiments. Some of them, many of them, are public. Some others are hidden. Some others are in secrecy. But the point is that up to what point we are 100% certain that we are autonomous or independent. That's a very key word, right? That's a key word, which I don't know if I myself in that category, or indeed I think I am independent, and I am also bearing some beliefs that I didn't know that I had. But well,
Yeah.
let's take a look at some of the common methodologies and formats. If you don't mind reading the first one, please, what they suggest. How is this methodology and format done?
Reality-based media experiments, placing participants in a controlled scenario to elicit genuine reactions, then editing the footage to highlight a specific message. Example format: what would you do if you saw X? Scenarios on street corners. Goal: to spot hidden biases, racism, sexism, apathy, and
Apathy?
apathy, yeah, and convince viewers that. Can you scroll down a little bit?
Yeah.
that these problems are real and prevalent.
Okay. So this is one of the formats they have. And have you seen this?
Yeah, yeah. I think that it's very common to watch like this type of experiments on Facebook, for example, because it's like so easy to get viral. So yeah, there's a lot of experiments like that.
Yeah, and then they take statistics and then they do a statistical analysis and they determine this situation from our 100,000 or 10,000 respondents. Our determination is this. This is going to happen. So they can predict what's going to happen based on a sufficient number of items taken. So this is a regression analysis that I'm sure you saw either in college or in masters in graduate school.
Yeah, yeah, of course.
And it's very interesting because if once you're able to predict something, you can take decisions and communicate those potential outcomes to the people in power. So it's a great tool that I think has been insufficiently exploited for positive purposes. I mean, people exploit it for other purposes, manipulative or maybe a control grabbing, but not for positive purposes. What do you think about that? Exploiting this, but for a positive purpose.
Yeah, of course. I think that it's something that we lack at this moment. I don't know, but I have seen like in many cases, I have seen like these social experiments like to divide people instead of really understand what is like the meaning behind of why they could believe or think in that way. I think that I don't know, not only in social experiments, I have seen that in politics, in a lot of things that uh, instead of really analyze like the causes, they are like just dividing more people. And I think that we we are more divided than before because now with social media, there's a lot of, as I told you, a lot of noise of information that you don't really know what is true, what is not, and and yeah, I think that is something complex, and that if they can use it for a positive, yeah, for a positive result, I think that will be amazing. But I think that we have a lack of that.
Well, let me just write then, following your comments, Mickey, and thank you for saying that. I'm going to write down the opposite. So, if the intention of some of those social experiments is to create action, why not provoking unity? Why not trying to create content, real and nurturing content? And let's give some examples if you with this, please. How would you create unity instead of division in people with a social experiment? How would that be attained or achieved? How could we create or provoke or foster unity with a social experiment? Maybe.
I would say that analyzing it without like a prejudge, because it's like so easy to just attack and say like, you're a fool because you believe in that way or you think that. But I think that when you start like analyzing like the context of the people that you are like interviewing or that you're like analyzing in the social experiment, I think that it's like much easier to detect instead of like judging, like detect like the causes of why he or she is believing in that way, I think.
Okay, that's a very interesting comment. Yes, of course, and I fully agree with that. And now, in the topic of creating noise, some events, some news, they have the intention or the purpose of creating noise or causing distraction too.
Totally.
Distraction from a main event that probably we want to have concealed, right? Um, we want to conceal or hide that event. How do we conceal that? Well, we distract you with something else so you don't see something which is really important or relevant and that you probably would object if you saw it. So we want to distract you from something which is really important. Instead of creating that, we want to provoke nurturing content. How would we do that? And should we unconceal or reveal the real intention of what someone else is perpetrating or trying to hide? What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think that here it is important, as we talked, like to analyze the source, to analyze who is doing the experiment, because we know that, for example, if you want to get viral, if you want to get, for example, monetization in social media, what you want to create is that noise. What you want to create is like this division, because that attract more comments, that attract more sharings, that attract more interactions in general. So in consequence, you're gonna be like you're gonna have like a content where you can get money of it. So there's a lot of pages on Facebook, on Instagram, that they just focus on that, and what they wanted to create is, yeah, that noise. So I would say that it's important to yourself, like analyze what you're watching, analyze like the source, and try to don't get distracted for all that noise. I think it's difficult because, as I told you, the same algorithm, it starts to show you that once, and a lot of times then, and yeah, instead of really watch a social experiment that wants to express or to teach us something, or to, yeah, to show us like a real result, I think that we have a lot of noise, and it's more difficult to really get focused, I think.
You mentioned something incredibly important. You said we need to try not to get distracted by that noise. But the question is how. In other words, yeah, if you have the consciousness, if you are conscious that what you're listening to is noise, or you say, oh, that is noise. But
Mhm.
sometimes we don't realize that. We don't notice that. Yeah,
Mhm.
it's very good advice when you say try not to get distracted. But how? If you don't realize that what that you're listening to is noise, how can you get rid of it? I mean,
Mhm.
first, if you agree, maybe you will agree with this, we
Mhm.
need to be conscious or become
Mhm.
conscious of that what we are listening to is noise. How
Mhm.
do we create this consciousness? How do we become conscious of that, Mickey?
Well, first of all, I think that uh, at the beginning you must be aware that this noise exists, because if you don't know that that noise exists, probably you're not, like as you mentioned, realizing that what you're watching is just like uh, yeah, probably something for entertainment, something to just distract yourself, something um, to probably don't get a benefit, knowledge, I don't know, probably analyze an idea. I think that first of all you need to to be aware of that, because if what you're watching for you is just for entertainment, sorry, uh, well, I think that I cannot do nothing against that. But if instead you want to really be more aware of what you're watching, be more aware of what you're listening, um, I think that I have seen, well, now that I'm thinking, probably you need to analyze since the format that they use, because I don't know if you have seen like uh, if you have seen or watched like the videos of, for example, now videos on YouTube for kids that are like for entertainment. They have a lot of flashes, they have a lot of noises, they have a lot of lyrics, they have a lot of movements of camera, like in a way, like a lot of impulses to your brain. So I think that when you watch an social experiment with a lot of those things, probably you can more or less detect that it's not like a serious source, because a serious source is not gonna take a lot of time doing like all those transitions, visuals. Probably what they are gonna focus is on the information that they are giving to you. So probably that can be a um, yeah, a solution to try to don't get distracted, I think.
Right. Yeah, that is very true. They want to get you distracted or they want to get you involved in a certain belief. For example,
Mhm.
how do you get someone involved or persuade? How do you get someone persuaded or how do you persuade someone of certain belief, whether it is to like or to dislike a certain politician, for example, right? You want to portray a positive image of a certain person, or you also want to portray a negative image of your opponent, your political opponent. So that's also manipulative. Sometimes by telling the truth, sometimes by outline clear lies about him or her. So yeah, I think that this comment you made, try not to get distracted by noise. Sometimes we get distracted by noise. Sometimes we get convinced by noise, and sometimes
That's
we
true.
get persuaded
Yeah,
of
that is
something.
true.
But the question then is, for me, at least I make this question to myself and I share it with you. How can we be certain of certain message anymore? How can we have certainty? Can we have certainty of the contents of a message without having to doubt every single thing that we read or watch in the media? In other words, we can believe skeptics,
Hmm.
and then skepticism about everything. Yeah, but then what can we believe then?
Yeah, and to be honest, I'm like in that process. I would love to say you, yeah, I have like the answer of that, um, but yeah, I have detect myself like in that. Uh, I don't know if I would say like fear, because it's like okay, I can believe what I'm watching, but probably I would prefer to check other sources too to really analyze it and to have like try to have like my own conclusion. So yeah, it's difficult. I don't know what would you suggest because to
Well,
be honest.
let me tell you something that episode that you are going through is normal in every youngster. Sometimes we have that feeling at early 20s, sometimes late 20s, sometimes early 30s, sometimes late 30s. Sometimes it is recurrent, it comes back to your mind every 10, 20 years. So it's a normal process. Let me tell you from my experience, if something the elderly people have is experience, we may not be very smart, and the younger generations are incredibly intelligent and brilliant and fast, and they grab everything very fast. But the experience tells you that these episodes are normal, they are common. People go through these processes of doubting things and then reassuring yourself. And if you allow me to give you a hint, is go back to the fundamentals, go back to the values that you have as a family, go back to your parents' comments. When we're young, we tend to say, well, yeah, but my dad, my mom are from the old generation. That happens to many of us at some point in our lives. But then when you continue going through life, you see that sometimes, very, very often, the old principles are prevalent. They still prevail. Being good to people, being honest, being hardworking, being sincere, being with solidarity. I mean, go back to the basics. And then when you go through life, you see, well, that fits in my family's principles. Yes, well, that's a good way. And then it may be that you say, well, that doesn't fit. Well, adjust the path. That's what I can say. Of course, it's very easy to say, right? It's much easier to go through the Rocky Mountains.
Mhm. Yeah, of course. But yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense. I think that, for example, something that really bothers me is that I don't know. I can be like I can do like the comparison what is happening with United States and Venezuela. That United States is like, okay, yeah, you have a lot of problems. I'm gonna solve your problems. I know that I haven't solved mine, but I'm gonna try to solve yours, and I'm gonna solve yours. And I have seen like this impose of beliefs and ideas, for example, on kids TV shows, on movies. I don't know. I don't have nothing against like the LGBTQT. I don't know how many words, how many letters that that community have now. But that they want to impose you in your life, like they want to educate your kids in an ideology that is not probably your ideology. That's probably like uh, what I'm against. That they want to impose you an idea that probably, as you mentioned, if it's something against your family values, against your beliefs. I think that is something that really bothers me. They are like taking the position of teaching, I don't know, in this case, kids what it's correct, what it's accurate, and kids are not don't have like the assessment to detect if something is real or not. Probably that will be, yeah.
Okay, very, very interesting and controversial point, Miki, if I can say that.
Yeah.
So, the question that I would like to raise and share with you and maybe ask you for your opinion is at the end, who is responsible for our kids' education, instruction, beliefs, and values? Is it the government? Is it the society? Is it the parents? Who is in charge of giving and transmitting the culture? It's a deep question. It's not something simple to respond. But I ask you, who is responsible for our kids' education, instruction, beliefs, and values at the end? Society, government, the parents, the media? Who is in charge?
I would say parents.
Parents.
Yeah.
And who gives them that? Is that universal? Is that everywhere? I am not sure if that's everywhere in
Mm-mm.
the Muslim world, in the Christian world, in the Catholic world, in the Jewish world.
Mhm.
And I'm going by religions, but we can go by political systems.
Mhm.
And I agree with this. I mean, in my personal case, I would say that the parents,
Mhm.
but the media has such a strong influence that they simply think, well, in my opinion, of course, the world has too many people. We need to start sending messages of the small family lives better, that gay marriages are okay, that this is okay, that this, with possibly the intention of controlling the world growth, at least in, and then you say, well, yeah, but let's send these messages to Latin America and Africa. Why? Because our agenda goes against those countries. There are too many, and we are a superior race. So let's impose. I am just giving an example that could be or could not be true,
Exactly.
right? So what do you think then should be the message of the people who don't believe in these messages?
Yeah, of course. You go straight to the point that I have is like, okay, why they have like the right to decide, for example, who works and who doesn't, who don't work. You know, it's it's something difficult, but I think that the first step to deliberate yourself a little bit is like to start to being aware of that. I don't know. In my case, I don't have kids. I don't have like um, yeah, like young people uh, that is on my church. I don't have any of it. Um, but I have cousins. I have little cousins too, and I have watched, for example, the videos that they normally watch, what they do for entertainment. In the past, I have analyzed like cartoons too. Like in the past, I don't know. I remember Barney. I remember how do you say, there was a cartoon of a turtle, that a turtle goes to the school, and if you analyze, like the images are like so slow, the topics are not like very um, complex. And if you analyze like cartoons now, you can see, as I mentioned, a lot of transitions, a lot of noises, a lot of distractions. And I'm talking about TV, but for example, nowadays I think that that kids watch more YouTube than other thing. And if you watch the videos that they normally use for entertainment, uh, there's a name of this type of videos, and mostly are created by AI, that are so uh, yeah, like so stupid, without like a story behind. It's like a lot of just content. The characters in one video they're fighting, and in the other one they are in a relationship. So there's a lot of distractions, and yeah, at least for me, it's something that really worries me, because it's like, oh my god, nowadays, for example, I know that my generation don't have like uh, we are so easy to get distracted. That's why on TikTok and on social media they use like this 5 seconds frame, that if you do not attract the attention of people from my age at between 5 to 8 seconds in the video, they're gonna scroll down, scroll down, scroll down, because you don't really get like the attention of them. But I watched a documentary, and I have to like a little research of it. It's supposed that now the alpha generation, the next generation after Generation Z, uh, the frame time that they're gonna have to get attention is gonna be between 2 to 4 seconds. So imagine to to that's why I think that it's so difficult. I don't know, for teachers. I imagine, right, to 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 give class, or to parents to control them, because if it's like, okay, if you don't attract their attention in that short period of time, they don't gonna pay your attention. So I think that it's a complex topic that probably I know that a lot of people have seen too. Um, but yeah, it's difficult.
It's very, very interesting what you're saying. And my question in consequence to what you're saying is
Mhm,
that if we're talking about this, of course, we're talking this in English,
mhm,
but should we discuss these things with our friends, with people in the openly? In other words, should we like open a channel? It doesn't have to be an hour documentary. It can be a 10-minute talk
mhm,
in which we discuss things that we abide to or that we don't abide to, that we oppose
mhm,
openly. In other words, I am picturing you opening a channel in which you are inviting people to discuss a certain topic, and then maybe there is a conversation. Maybe you and I are having a conversation, and we invite people to discuss certain topic, and we read, like some people do, right? Comments from the public. Hey, we have here Luis. Oh, that's my brother. Hey, Luis, how are you? What's your opinion about this? And then I invite Sophie, my daughter. Hey, Sophie, what's your take on this aspect? Well, and people and friends, and maybe people we don't know too. Um, should we do this or not? Or, I mean, it would be interesting because I have wanted to do this. Maybe I'll do it. In which there is a topic of discussion which is interesting, and then you invite people with the intention not only of persuading them, but also the intention is to know what they really think. I mean, invite youngsters to see why they think that, how they reach that conclusion, and if they are willing to modify what they think or to convince us of what they are thinking is right, valid, legit. What do you think, Nikki?
yeah, to be honest, the same as you, it's something that uh, I have think about it a lot of times, and that, and since the beginning of December, I'm gonna start. I think that at the end of this month, I decided, because I don't know, I had like this fear, like this fear that, oh my god, probably I know that I have like certain beliefs or ideas that can be like controversial nowadays. Um, and I don't want to convince everyone like to think the same as me, but what I want to try to do is like to make them doubt, of what they're really thinking. Like, if they can have like a more autonomous like way of thinking, for me will be like great. I don't care too much if they believe the same as me. To be honest, I will prefer that they don't believe the same as me. But yeah, it's something that I'm gonna do. Teacher, I talk with friends. I purchased a new phone for the camera. So yeah, I'm gonna talk about different topics, and one of them is what we're talking here. So that's why I feel like sometimes very like motivational of the topic, because it's something that really intrigues me. And but yeah, I'm gonna do it, teacher. I will give you my spoiler.
Yeah, that'd be great. That'd be awesome. That'd be awesome. One of the things that I need to do for my doctoral degree in this last year, the fourth
Mhm.
year, I'm starting the fourth and last year, is to do some research
Okay.
and publications. And for that, there are many things that can be done, right? One of them is social experiments
Okay.
for publication. Social experiments for publication. So imagine Because I need to publish some essays in refereed magazines. So, if you have any ideas about a social experiment, basically on the topics of cooperation or non-cooperation, non-cooperative environments. In other words, to determine how much cooperation people are willing to provide, or how egotistic people sometimes can become, right? But this is the main topic in which I'm intending to publish something. So, cooperation versus competition, competition versus cooperation. This is the main topic that I'm working on. Actually, those are the main philosophies in discussion in my thesis, right? A cooperative system versus a competitive system in the agave reconversion in Guanajuato. So if you come up with an idea to do some social experiment, I'd be more than willing to work it out and then publish it, and of course, give you credit,
Yes,
because
sure, of course. I would like to do it.
yeah,
Yeah.
you did your master's probably in, I don't know, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't know when you might want to do a doctorate degree. You're very young. You can exploit many fields of knowledge, right?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it is something that I have in mind that, yeah, for example, this one probably I'm not working like on a company or like an enterprise, but I have used like certain knowledges that I have acquired on the school. So yeah, to me, I'm gonna continue developing myself, and I don't know, who knows, maybe one day a doctoral degree too. Yeah, I'm interested in that. And about your topic, it's an interesting topic, teacher. Actually, well, now I know that I'm focused is more focused on agave and all stuff. But I don't know if I told you when. Well, no, I didn't tell you because we haven't had class for a while. But the last week, actually the past Sunday, we did a collect of toys to give uh, to people that don't have money, and we're gonna go to a community. The name of the community is Ojo de Bermúdez, something like that. It's like it's like in the middle between Irapuato and Salamanca. And I had like that fear because I did like like a poll where I posted who's gonna take us toys to the to the collect.
Collection
And
is
yeah, and the response was like very low, and I had like that fear because uh, we were there in HEB from 4 to 8 p.m. and it was like, oh my god, imagine that nobody comes and we just stay here waiting. And a part of that, obviously, I'm gonna purchase more toys. But the response was great. To be honest, it was a positive surprise because at the beginning it was like, oh my god, nobody's gonna cooperate. Uh, in the poll that I did, there was just like 4 votes. One of me, one of my friend with who I have the page, the mom of my friend, and and I don't remember who was, but it was a friend that he's not living here in Mexico, and he was like, "Oh my god, nobody's gonna come." And at the end, we full 2 cars of toys T-shirts. So
really, wow, what a beautiful experiment.
actually, I don't know if you can see here, but my now is I have the
You have the camera background.
yeah. Let me see if I can. Mm-mm-mm. Yeah, I don't know if you can see there, but everything on my I don't think that is visible. A little bit.
Yeah, I can see it. Yeah. Wow.
Well, I have the half here, and the other half is in my friend's house. So it was a positive surprise because, to be honest, I wasn't expecting that, and at the end, yeah, people wants to cooperate too. I think that it's something good and positive. And if I can help you with your experiment, I would love it. Sure, let me think an
Yeah.
idea.
Yeah, let's do it, Mickey. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Can I give you a first of all a big applause because that's a beautiful, beautiful behavior that is exemplary. Let me
Thank you.
suggest something
Of course.
respectfully,
Mhm.
not for the purpose of praise, but for the purpose of convincing and persuading other people to imitate what you just did, why don't you post it? Why don't you post the results saying that you appreciate, we appreciate, people appreciate the generosity of people in providing or cooperating for toys?
Mhm.
Uh, not sometimes we don't do it because you don't want to look like, oh, I want to show off. We know you, the people who know you understand that is because you have a generous heart and that you want to help people and so on. So why not publish it? Why not publishing that shows that people are still generous? In other words, in a world that looks that there is no hope, in a city that is the second ranked in Mexico, the most feared city, you can
Mhm.
also see that there are good hearts in those people. That'd be like the message. If you
100%.
allow me to respectfully suggest that, Mickey.
Thank you, teacher. Yeah, actually, in the sneakers page, because it was part of the of our sneaker page, we started posting it, and actually we upload a post yesterday about this. And my first video is gonna be between me and my sneaker page, like of the process, because we need to divide like the toys. There are toys like probably like for uh, kids that are like a little bit older, kids that are a little bit younger. So we're gonna do like little bags, and we're gonna record too, like the moment when we are going there and when we are delivering. So yeah, it's in our plan. So when I have the video, I'm gonna show you too. I'm gonna show it
Yes,
to
it
you.
would be awesome. Because it can become very emotional too, because you see the kids receiving their toys that probably for the first time, and it's
Yeah,
an effort that until you see it, you see, oh, how nice. But besides that moment, nobody's thinking of that, right?
yeah, of course. Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome.
Let's see how it goes. I'm excited to go and
Yeah, of course.
watch the kids' reactions.
Yeah, it's gonna be fabulous. It's probably one of the most beautiful rewards person can have when you make children that have basically nothing receive something and you see their eyes shine, the smiles that they haven't been so wide in a while, right?
Mhm. Yeah, because we talked with the director of the school. It's a woman, and yeah, she told us that it's a primary. It's a primary, and it has 68 kids in total of the whole primary. Um, and she told us that there was like 27 girls and the rest boys. So yeah, we're excited. I think that um, this is gonna be a good experience, and obviously I would love to share with other ones. As you mentioned, not to show off because it's not like the uh, what we want to to express in this, but like to try to convince other people that you don't have to be like rich or you don't have to be famous to try to do something positive, and that probably when you join with other people, we can do uh, a positive effect in others.
And it's most importantly, it sets an example. It tells people that good exists in a city like Irapuato. Well, I've lived there for 20 some years and I have affection and appreciation, and I am grateful to this city that gave me many wonderful years. And the fact that it is named the second most feared city in the country and on the top list of the world's most dangerous cities, to see that there is a heart in people, that there is still generosity, there are acts of kindness like the one that you and your friend are displaying in this poor community, is a fabulous thing, Mickey. So it should be set as an example. So go ahead and do it. Congratulations. Good job.
Thank you, teacher. Thank you very much. Yeah. Yeah, when I have the video, I'm gonna show it to you first.
When are you scheduling to have this display, this delivery of gifts to the kids of the school?
We're going the next Tuesday.
Next Tuesday, this coming Tuesday.
Yeah, because I think that they began school again the next Monday, but the next Monday I can't because my other friends can't like go to take like all the toys because it doesn't gonna have enough space in just one car. So I need like my friends to take their cars too. So yeah, the next Tuesday, teacher.
Awesome, awesome. Well, please share the news with us. Let us know how you did, and it'd be wonderful to be able to share these examples of generosity. I mean, you provoke this with the guys that were willing to cooperate. That's so nice, and it sets a good example, truly good example in a world that desperately needs that type of acts.
Yeah, exactly, teacher. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, let's see how it goes.
Very nice, Mickey. Very nice. Well, we're basically running out of time, but just to summarize, it was a very good discussion of how people go over information, how information media influence us, and how some social experiments um, persuade us or dissuade us of doing some things. You
Mhm.
mentioned something very important. We should not prejudge. Some
Mhm.
things cause noise, and should we disclose what others are trying to conceal or not? Do we want to get public? What would you like to comment to close this session, Miki? What would you like to reframe or maybe express as an addition to what we discussed?
Yeah. Well, social experiments, at least for me, are very interesting. But as we mentioned here, there must be like in everything, boundaries. We need to analyze a lot of things between them, sources. We need to detect when the source probably is not like uh, good enough to believe 100% on it, on them. Sorry. Um, understand that probably social experiments are for propaganda too, that they want to show us like an idea and that they lead us with that social experiment to believe in certain ideas. um, that is good to have like your own criteria and to doubt in certain things. Probably you don't have to doubt in your whole life, but it's normal, as you mentioned here. It is a process, and I think that it's a process that everyone must pass. I think that it's a must because if we don't really analyze what we think, what we believe, the ideas that we have, we're just like in a automatic
Mode.
mode. Exactly. And I think that what's like the big countries and the big companies want is that. So let's try to be more aware and yeah, to try to develop our own criteria, I think.
Very good and concise response and summary with our discussion, Mickey. Well, thank you very much, then, Mickey. See
Thank you,
you
teacher.
soon, and I appreciate your comments and congratulations on your endeavors.
Thank you very much, teacher. Yeah, happy to see you again, teacher. And in which day is better for you to have the class? And I don't know, you talk with my dad or how we can do like of the payment of the classes and all stuff too.
Yeah, yeah. If you wish, I can tell him that we